Alright, g'day everyone, welcome to another installment of Always All-Wheel Drive. Now you might see a couple of old tyres behind me, you see that right? Because we have completely transformed the Ford Territory from a basic car into the ultimate touring rig. I take you through the build process, what went wrong, what went right, and we even tested the new build out on the tracks of Lithgow with Territory Off-Road. So stay tuned right to the end and you'll see a couple of cool clips from that trip. So I highly recommend kick back, crack open something cold, and enjoy the ride. Right, the Ford Territory. What comes to mind when you think about that? You think of a grocery getter, you think of Ford of Australia, you think of rust, you think of ball joints, you think of a car that you can pick up for next to nothing. I'm here to change that. What I've done is turned your humble soccer mom car into the ultimate touring rig. Fortunate that behind the camera is the man himself, Mr. Keith from Territory Off-Road, which I've actually fitted a lot of these parts. And to understand how we got here, we have to visit my past self on the journey that took us all the way here. So, hey, jump cut! Yeah, we're back to the future now. So, how do we actually get onto those sick tracks that future me is enjoying? And honestly, I'm a little jealous of him right now. How do we get there? So, first things first, we need this. It's all parked up now. We're going to start with the front shocks. The reason I start with the front shocks is that we are going to compress them the old-fashioned way. Spring compressors, manual style. Oh, not looking forward to it, but the front is harder than there is. So, let's dive into it. I'm going to stop yabbing and let's get cracking. Right, we got them out. So there's a couple of things we have to do here so that we can install the lift kit. Number one, I'm going to replace the top hat here. As you can see, it's a bit worse for wear. It's not in the best condition. I think it's actually the original one. So we're going to change that. Number two, we're going to compress the springs. How are we going to do that? We are going to have to use the cheap and nasty spring compressors. It's all I have right now, but if you're careful, you should be fine. And number three, we have to make sure that the top cap aligns with the holes perfectly, but it's not even just that. We have to make sure that the lift kit springs, we have to make sure that the lift kit actually aligns with the holes, because as you can see, what lined up perfectly now no longer lines up with the spacer. So we actually have to rotate this to make sure the spacer lines up perfectly. So let's go. I am sweating. Oh, all right, hopefully I can get the top cap on, rotate it, and that's only one done. God. We roll. Alright everyone, the shock number 1 is done. Christ, what an effort. I should really invest in a hydraulic press. Maybe one day, but at this point we're done. So what we're gonna do now, I got my breath almost. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna chuck this one into the left side of the car, and I'll show you what I mean by having to make sure all the holes are aligned. So let's get the first shot in the car. All right, 1 down, 1 to go. All right, so front is done. I'm just gonna chuck on the wheels. Now we're gonna do the rear. Can't believe we're only halfway there, but it's gonna be epic when this is done. So let's get stuck into it. No dilly-dallying. Right everyone, so no matter how many hours I've spent on this one side to get these lower camber arms out, heat, extensions, hammers, everything, WD-40 for 48 hours, nothing will move these lower camber nuts. So unfortunately I will have to give it to a mechanic to fit the lower camber arms, because I just don't have the resources or the tools right now, unfortunately. So I'm just going to move ahead with the rest of the lift anyway, and I'm going to leave the rear cambers for my local mechanic. So let's get stuck into it, because I just want this done. Alright, so the first bit of a drive didn't go amazing. I popped my upper ball joint. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. As you can see here, there's actually a fair bit of an angle on the other side for the upper ball joint. I should have really inverted it. You can actually twist it the other way, and that makes it much more level. Just waiting for the tow truck and we get stuck into it. There we go. First tow attempt. Oh well, it's all part of the experience, right? You can't help that. So we'll get it home, back into the dojo, and we'll get this fixed. So it's been a couple of days and I've disassembled the car to try and understand why I ended up on that bloody tow truck and how I'm going to prevent that from happening. A bit of it's my error, but a bit of it's also part of what I'm trying to do here. User error. This is my arm that I've pulled. What I didn't do was I didn't loosen this lower and retighten. That's one mistake I made. And so how are we going to fix it? Well, there's a couple of ways we're going to fix it. One, I'm going to loosen it when I reinstall it. But number two, I'm actually going to adjust the angle. So as you can see, look how crazy the angle is. And if you check out these other shots, you can see how steep it actually was. It was honestly just a matter of time before this was going to fail. And I've heard on a lot of our territory guys, this does happen as well. So step one, loosen it. Then readjust that ride height. Now, step two, this is where I've done a bit of engineering yesterday. What I did, and I did a lot of experimentation, was try and flip it. So I tried to flip it to keep the arm level. Now the problem, as you can see, it actually pushes your wheel out. My stock setting is 26.5 centimeters. Pushed out, it's 31.4 centimeters. That's gonna push your camber way into positive territory. So what I did is that I drilled it back a bit and then I remeasured it. Now I was still at 29 centimeters, so I wasn't too happy about that. Then a mate of mine actually gave me an idea, and I guess this is what happens when you spend a lot of time on cars. Just flip it around. So therefore, it's a bit more level. It's not amazing, it's a bit more level. This should hopefully prevent premature ball joint failure. And therefore I'll have a better ride. What I've done, I've actually gotten rid of the old ball joint and I've pressed in a brand new one as well. It's not worth taking the risk of using the old one. So I've installed a brand new ball joint. I've actually re-drilled new holes in here as well. I'm going to grease it up. I'm going to reinstall it. So just to recap what has happened and what I'm going to do. Failure cause steep angle, tension on ball joint, didn't loosen and retighten. They're the reasons why it failed. How am I going to resolve it? I've drilled into my mounting lower and I've pressed in a brand new ball joint. Once I do all this, I'm hoping that we can get back out onto the tracks and we can finally wrap this up, because I'm looking forward to bringing this to a close.
Lucky the phone's waterproof.